Okay, so today we are going to talk about the classics that I read this month. But first, a shout out to today's sponsor, Squarespace. Whether you want to build a website, online stores, marketing tools, analytics, Squarespace is an all-in-one platform that makes it really easy for you to be able to build your online presence and grow your business. But we'll talk more about them in a minute. So at the time that you are watching this video, I will have read 3 classics. But unfortunately, the only time that I have to film is right now. And I'm still in the middle of one of my classics. So I'm going to talk about 2 of them, and then I'll just insert a clip from later on in the week where I talk about the last one. So, classics. What did I read? I read all my classics at the end of the month this month. I just got kind of on a classic kick. First classic I read this month, I have 2 copies of, and it's Oliver Twist. I bought this one first, I'm pretty sure, and then I got a really good deal on a bundle of classics in the Paper Mill Press editions, and this was in the bundle, so I got another copy. And now I finally read the daggum thing. Oliver Twist is brutal. I feel like I should have known that going in, but I guess I just didn't realize how brutal it would be. I mean, really, it's a look into how really rough some people had it or have it in general. But it's kind of just non-stop punching you in the gut. With Oliver, we follow him starting off as an orphan and being put in these really horrifying conditions and how normalized it is to the people around him. And then we follow him as he just gets a tough break after tough break after tough break. It was really easy for me to sympathize with Oliver, obviously, and connect with him and love him. And my heart really broke for him as the book continued and he just could not find a friend. I mean, there were people along the way that were good to him, but then things would change. Things would just he would find someone, and then his life would change again, and it's sad. There are so many moments where we get connected to them, and then it's a hard knock life. There's a lot of violence in this book, and there's a lot of tough moments. But I'm really glad that I read it. I think Charles Dickens did an excellent job at creating this story and making it a difficult look into a really, really hard life and a difficult look into how certain people just don't care and how we don't want to be those people. I actually just finished this book yesterday. So my thoughts are really, really fresh on it, and I think I want to watch a couple videos on it and do a little bit of research on it as well, because I usually, after I finish a classic, I'll usually look up information about the audience and its purpose and the symbolism within and all that kind of stuff, and I just didn't have time to do that with Oliver Twist this time around, so my thoughts are still very fresh and not fully formed, but my very raw first impression thoughts on Oliver Twist are, oh man, it was a tough read, but it was I don't want to say the word satisfying, but I'm left feeling really glad that I read it and wanting to read more from Charles Dickens. Next book or pamphlet that I picked up, as soon as I finished Oliver Twist, immediately after I finished it, I was just wanting more classics, and it was the end of the night, and so I just decided to pick up the shortest one on my TBR, and that's A Modest Proposal. So you guys okay, I have a lot of thoughts. When I said I was gonna read A Modest Proposal, I got a lot of comments, and a lot of people said, oh my goodness, I love this book. It was my favorite book that I read in school, that I was forced to read and discuss. Or pamphlet. It's tiny. It's like 20 pages long. And multiple people warned me, go into it having already some information behind you. Look up what its purpose is and then read it. And I don't know, man. I was too excited, I guess, to dive into another classic. So I just Googled really quick what's the purpose or information on A Modest Proposal, and I must have gotten a really bad article, because the article basically told me a summary of the book and then didn't tell me that it was not serious. So I thought we were taking this whole thing seriously, and it's my fault for not doing proper research, but that's how I read this book. I read this book thinking we were taking what this man was saying seriously, and if you're not aware, this book is kind of a slap in the face to everybody that's supposed to read it. There's a lot of poverty and a lot of homeless people, and it's just a really rough time for a large population. And then you have the rich, who just couldn't care less. And this pamphlet was written as, it's ironical. The purpose is to yell at everyone. Yell at the rich, yell at the government, yell at the poor, yell at everybody, and tell everyone, you're doing this wrong, grow some compassion, and let's fix our society. And the way he does it is by explaining what a pain these poor people are, these homeless people are on our society. So let's clean it up by eating the children. We'll fatten them up when they can still be breastfed. Once they hit 1 and they no longer need to be breastfed or they need to start eating solids, at that point, let's just sell them to the butcher or give them to the butcher and let's eat the juicy baby meat. And it's written in a very surprisingly graphic way, talking about how we should do it and what kind of stews we should put them in and spices and seasonings and how delicious they'll be. And the point is, the rich will profit off of this because they'll have tasty meat, and society will profit because we will no longer have the trouble, the struggle of these annoying homeless people. So this is a 20-page pamphlet. I gave you the basic idea of it. If you don't want to be spoiled for the ending, I'm gonna talk about it, so just jump to this point and we'll continue discussing my thoughts after that, but here's the ending. It ends on him saying, so anybody that wants to come up with a better idea, go ahead and do so and pitch it to me, but I think that I've got the best idea, so let's get started. Let's start sacrificing up our children. And also, actually, it also says, also, women will appreciate this too because they'll no longer be abused by their husbands because they'll be viewed as breeding horses, essentially. And so husbands will appreciate their contribution to society, so they won't beat their wives anymore. So then it ends on, all right, so let's sacrifice up our children and let's get this started because this is definitely the best way. By the way, my kids are too old for this and my wife is past childbearing age, so I can't do it. The end. So back to my thoughts, out of spoilers. I read this book thinking I was supposed to take it seriously, and I was sick to my stomach reading it and horrified by it, and I finished it and I thought, well, I've done it. I've read the worst book in all of existence. So a little bit of context. I then talked to Corey about my thoughts, and we together looked up more information about the book, and it turns out the article I read was terrible, and there's a lot more information. And essentially, like I said at the beginning of this, it's him taking a hard look at society and saying, hey, you compassionless jerks, let's do something to help these people. But he was being ironic with it by kind of leaning into the horrors and saying, these people are a plague, we don't like them, let's kill them all. And he served his purpose. He did the point. And I can see too how it ended fed perfectly into kind of the point that he was trying to make and all that. And I have a different perspective now on it. I appreciate what he was doing a lot more now that I understand it. But that horrified and sickened feeling that I got while reading it didn't help. It's still stuck with me. It was definitely an experience to read it. And you guys warned me, do your research first. Know the context first before you read this. And you know, it's on me. It's on me. I rushed it because I just wanted to read more classics before the end of the night, and it's on me. But I definitely appreciate it a lot more now that I have context and now that I understand and I can look at it through the lens of what it was meant to be looked at through. I appreciate what he was doing with this little pamphlet. However, the feelings, they're sticking to me. I still feel the horrors, but I guess maybe that's not a terrible thing because it is a horrifying thing. What the author was trying to shine a light on and these horrible attitudes that people had that he was trying to expose through this pamphlet, it is horrifying. And what he was suggesting is horrifying. So maybe having the full shock of it isn't such a negative thing. But I am really grateful that I looked up information afterwards because, oh man, I don't even know. It's been a ride reading those 20 pages. I'll tell you that. Okay, last book. I'm sorry, usually my classics videos are a little bit better than this because usually I've had some time to reflect and process, but you're getting all of my like raw first impression, haven't really processed any of this yet kind of thoughts. So the last book that I'm reading this month the last classic is, Robots here it is. It's the next Isaac Asimov book. And I'm listening to the audiobook. I'm currently an hour in, so not really far, but I'm also a week from when this video is going to be published. So here's a clip of me talking about it. Okay, I'm gonna be really brief with my review for this final Robots of Dawn because 1, it's very cold outside, and 2, it's book 3 in a series, so there's not much I can say. I actually feel about the same with this book as I have with the 2 before it, and it's great, it's fun. This is a detective murder mystery series following a guy and a man who's a detective who's quite prejudiced towards AIs in a world where AIs are unavoidable, and he's forced to be partnered up with a robot who's very intelligent. This is just a really fun series. I don't usually like detective stories like this, mysteries where we follow the detective, but this series has been the exception to the rule for me so far. I've really enjoyed it, even though it's not my typical style. Sorry, I'm at my in-laws' house and it's very noisy here. But despite it not being my typical style, I have really enjoyed these 3 books. And it's primarily because of Asimov's work with AIs. It's just, I love the way he incorporates it, and how interesting it is to watch him make these rules and then build societies that can break the rules in really intricate ways, and then watch it all unfold and watch them figure it out. I just really enjoy it. One thing that I got out of this book specifically that I really enjoyed is the detective that we're following. Like I said, he is prejudiced against AIs and doesn't want the help of the robot. And in this book, we got to see him start to really change that and develop a real affection and love for his partner, or rather accept the affection that was built, especially in the last book. And it was really nice. I really enjoyed it. I really like the series. I can't say that I'm great to recommend this type of genre since it's not a genre I typically read, but I like it. So if you decide to pick it up, please tell me what you think of it, because I'm having a great time reading it. I think I only have 1 book left, and then I start on the Foundation series, but I'm having such a good time. And that's all I have to say. Anyway, those are the classics that I read this month. I will have my whole wrap-up posted in a day or 2. But before we wrap this video up, a word from today's sponsor. We interrupt this programming for a very important message and warning. As you can see, there are planes overhead. Unidentified pilots are causing mayhem and destroying entire cities, wreaking devastation wherever they go. We have created a website that spreads information and allows people to be able to be informed of what's happening and know how to stay safe. Because it's a Squarespace website, we have the option for social sharing. So there is a configurable sharing button that lets you be able to share our content to Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, Pinterest. You name it, you can share it. We also have email campaigns because Squarespace is an all-in-one platform that makes it easy to unify our brand voice from our homepage to our emails. And last but certainly not least, we need your help. We are collecting donations through our Squarespace website to support our cause by gathering contributions with PayPal, Apple Pay, Stripe, and Venmo. I highly recommend Squarespace. I set up this amazing website in only 10 minutes, and if you use my link in the description, you get a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, you get 10% off your domain name. So go check out Squarespace and create your website today. Oh, and watch out for those planes. Anyway, thank you for going through this journey with me. I'd love to chat with you more about these books in the comments. Like I said, I haven't had a chance to do a lot of research on either of these books yet, so maybe I'll be a little bit better informed in the comment section, but I'd love to chat with you more about them. I post videos every Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. See you guys again soon. Bye.